I've known James since we were 11. He's been my best friend for a long time, and we're so close people ask us all the time if we are siblings because we look alike and even share a last name. He lives close by and is very much integrated into all parts of my life. I had a crush on him growing up and I asked him out a couple times when we got a little older. He always declined and said we were just best friends. He's really goofy with me and treats me like I'm his little sister, and over time I came to agree with him. We are 27 now and still the best of friends. My parents treat him like a son, and honestly, he's family. A couple months ago I had a ONS and found out I was pregnant. Being as I have PCOS, I am over the moon because I was always told that the chance of me conceiving were very low. I am keeping this gorgeous miracle baby, and I can't explain how many tears of relief I shed. I've always wanted to be a mom, and finally I have a chance at this. I have my own home, have savings, I'm in the right place in life, and I'm so happy. When James found out he was also over the moon, he thought it was the coolest thing ever, but then gradually dropped off the face of the planet and he never wanted to hang out anymore. Won't go to the gym with me, is too busy for the cinema, doesn't feel like going to the mall, can't come with me to visit mutual friends, nada. My mom and dad invite him over every so often for dinner, and so at the most recent one I cornered him and asked why he was avoiding me so much and if he had an issue. He confessed that he finds my growing baby bump disturbing and a little gross. He said, I know it's really weird of me, but it just creeps me out. I found that so demeaning and hurtful, and I burst out crying and called him an immature idiot and told him to get the hell out. He apologized and left, and I haven't heard from him since. I'm so upset that he's ruining a lifelong friendship over my goddamn baby bump. I want to reach out, but I just feel so alienated from my own body and made to feel gross, and I'm not sure if I'm the one that's being difficult or if it's him. No idiots here. This one is really tough. I don't think it's wrong for you to feel hurt by his comment, but I also don't think it's wrong of him to express how he felt. He clearly attempted to share your joy when he learned about it, so it's not vindictive or anything. It could be a maturity thing, but it might not be. You're the idiot. He wasn't being an idiot to you, you cornered him and forced him to confront you. He was honest. Don't ask questions you don't want the answer to. As he said, it may be socially taboo to be grossed out by prego bellies, but it happens, and he was dealing with it accordingly. Quietly avoiding the temporary situation was logical. Not the idiot. Everyone's focusing on his comment, they're forgetting that it's not just that, but the fact that he'd been deliberately avoiding you because of your belly. Feeling weirded out by a belly? Not too strange. Avoiding your close friend because of it? Not normal. For some background, spouse and I are in our late 20s. I am a stay-at-home mom to a 3-year-old and newborn. He works in an office. Newborn is breast 99% of the time. I am lucky if he takes a bottle every few days. Naturally, I am in charge of all our baby's feedings and most of our children's needs. I love my children, but man can they be exhausting. The night before was awful. I mean cluster feeding every other hour, barely got a wink of sleep, awful. I can't sleep when baby sleeps during the day because no one can watch our 3-year-old. Husband volunteers to watch them for an hour or two when he comes home so I can nap. Great. He eats dinner, I nurse baby, and am practically passing out. He's taking the kids out on a drive. I give baby to him, he tells me he needs a diaper change. I had just changed him and didn't want to do it for the umpteenth time. I just wanted him to do it, you guys. I just wanted a real break for an hour or two max because I have to feed him and recharge for tonight and of course continue this baby toddler cycle every day. I asked him to please do it. He gets angry and told me he's trying to help me get some sleep and I'm being difficult about it. It was in an aggressive tone and I was taken aback and I kinda just froze. He looks visibly pissed, changes baby, and takes off. When he comes home we had a blow up about it. He thinks I'm trying to dictate the way he helps. I just wanted him to change his diaper. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot, the fact that he gave you a tone and went on the defense might show that he's aware and insecure of his help at parenting. The fact that he passes you the baby to change it after you both created this child shows he expects you to do one of the most important tasks of parenting. You deserve to communicate with one another and be empathetic of one another. If everyone wants the best for everybody, there should be some balance being created in the future. Not the idiot. That fact he even expected you to do it and didn't think to just go ahead and change the diaper is just no words. I was where you are. My kids are 14 months apart. If my husband acted like that, I would have one more thing to do. Plan his funeral. I'm a father of a 2-year-old and a 5-month-old, and I know that my wife needs a break from taking care of the kids after I get home from work. I actually look forward to it. Your husband should be voluntarily changing diapers, feeding bottles, bathing, putting the baby to sleep when he gets home, especially if you're visibly drained. All those things he views as chores are actually bonding experiences. He's the idiot. The night before my wedding, 6 months ago, I ate fish for the first time in a couple of months and had a life-threatening allergic reaction. My doctor says I'm lucky to be alive. I've had major panic attacks and general anxiety since then. My mother-in-law was there when it happened. I'm in therapy to work through the trauma and to do exposure therapy. We don't know how much of the allergen will trigger a reaction, so my allergist gave me a list of foods to avoid. Wine was on the list, which can be filtered using fish bladders. I told my mother-in-law this on a Skype call, and she incredulously said, "Well, you've drank a lot of wine in your life and been fine." We went to visit the in-laws and told them we are being very careful about the allergy and would be bringing our own food. We explained that I'm most comfortable preparing the food myself and I would be happy to feed everyone if they wanted. They agreed. Once we arrive, mother-in-law asks me why I don't want wine, and I explain, again, how fish could be used to filter it. At this point she was already pretty drunk and just walked away. One night my mother-in-law comes and says she wants to prepare dinner. Because mother-in-law can be difficult, my wife tries to appease her whenever she can. So she says okay and explains which sauce we brought that should be used because we know it is safe. Every therapist my wife and I have ever seen all agree that mother-in-law fits the criteria for borderline personality disorder. When I got down to the kitchen, my wife told me that her mom had added wine to the sauce we brought. I ended up having some leftovers, and when I went out to join them and her mom asked why I was eating that, my wife lied and told her it was just because I felt more comfortable with leftovers. Later, of course, I told my wife that her lying really upset me and that this is a clear boundary we need to establish because it's about my safety. She explained that she just knew her mom would feel really bad and didn't want to upset her. We've talked through how my safety is more important than her mom's feelings. She needs to know not to mess with food. Where we still are disagreeing is that I said it was inconsiderate of her mom to do that, and she maintains that it is not inconsiderate because no one would have known about wine. I didn't expect her mom to know wine could have my allergen in it, that's why I told her twice. Also, we went to the lengths of bringing all our own food and had talked multiple times about how careful we are. I think any considerate person would recognize that and not put other things in without asking first. My wife says I'm an idiot for calling her mom inconsiderate. Not the idiot. Simply ask if she is fine with a dead husband rather than hurting mommy's feelings. The lady knows, you have mentioned it on more than on one occasion. There is no excuse for that, and your wife downplaying it can lead to something more serious down the road. Nobody has time to always monitor mother-in-law, and one day it can cost you your life. You told your mother-in-law a number of times, so for her to ignore it is indeed inconsiderate. I get why your partner wants to defend her mom to a degree, so I don't think she's an idiot, but your mother-in-law is for ignoring your clear explanation of what you can or can't eat or drink and why it's so important that wine be avoided. Food allergies are not something to mess with, and it sounds like she did it on purpose. Your wife needs to stop dancing around a life-threatening issue because her mom's feelings might be hurt because she got called out for doing something dangerous. Some backstory. I am absolutely terrified of dogs and I generally dislike them for a few reasons, which include being attacked and being sensitive to barking. Okay, story time. For my birthday, my friend said they had a big surprise for me, knowing them I've become really worry around surprises. Turns out the surprise was a new pet, a dog. Now, as stated above, I'm really not a big fan of dogs at all, they know this. They know I'm generally very wary around them, and I get startled easily being around them. I do my best to stay composed and refrain from any comments and knee-jerk reactions, but I most definitely keep my distance. I don't think I've shared my whole childhood trauma around dogs, but I've made it pretty clear I don't necessarily enjoy their presence. My friends have always egged me on about how annoying and horrible my behavior is, how there's nothing for me to fear, and that I shouldn't be acting this way. I agree, I think it's about time for me to move on with my trauma and leave it in the past. I've been looking for ways to get help, it's just a very difficult process and needs a lot of time and effort. I guess while I was talking to them about this, they thought it would be a good idea to speed it up. Not sure, but long story short, they agreed on getting me a dog. I was surprised, to say the very least, and quite terrified. I mean, for the God's sake, what am I supposed to do? I'm not equipped to handle a dog at all, with my current mental health as well. No way I could meet all her needs and take care of her by any means. I did my best to put on a good front and be happy, but I quickly brought up how I just don't think having a dog right now is a good time. I thanked them a ton and asked them if they could take care of her in the meantime while I was getting myself together so that I could properly prepare myself and do my best to look after her. Immediately got faced with a ton of "no, she's your pet, you take care of her," and generally lots of unhappy comments. Not fun, I'll admit. I got it over and brought her home. It was absolute hell. I could barely handle anything for a single day. I called up my friends again and made it firm I'm unable to do this. Same result. So, I ended up contacting a close family member and asked for some help. They immediately accepted her, and she ended up becoming their dog. Fast forward a little bit, my friends non-stop prodded and poked at me about how she was doing. I immediately turned around and gave them the answer straight up. I could not look after her by any means, so I gave her away to one of my family members who absolutely loves her and is taking good care of her. They were incredibly furious, needless to say, I screwed up big time. Non-stop harassment, rumors, drama, all that bullcrap. They said they bought her for me, and I'll say that is very true, I just couldn't take care of her. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. What the hell is wrong with your friends? What they did is a massive violation of boundaries and is abusive to animals. Up to this point you've been far too nice to these people. Tell them in no uncertain terms that it's not their job to get you over your phobia. And you don't appreciate them play pretending at being psychologists by using pseudo-exposure therapy on you. And remind them that it's abusive to animals to place them in a home where they can't get their needs met. Pets are not presents. These friends put their idea of who you should be above your well-being and the dog's well-being. You clearly communicated that you couldn't handle it and took a responsible step to find her a loving home. Not the idiot. Not the idiot. These people are not your friends, they're a bunch of idiots that don't deserve to have you in their lives. I'm also quite wary of dogs, and my friends are so considerate that on the rare occasions that I've gone over to their homes they've been ready to send their dogs into the backyard or shutting the door to whatever room we were in if I was even the least bit uncomfortable. So a little bit of backstory. I got engaged in August and the wedding is in June. Now, I have had a relatively relaxed approach to this wedding, as I'm not exactly a traditional bride, and I don't really care what happens on the day, as long as I get married to my amazing fiancé. I have 6 bridesmaids in total, with my sister being maid of honor. All of my bridesmaids are different shapes and sizes, 2 of them being pre-teens, and I really wanted them all to feel comfortable, so I decided to let them choose their own dresses. They have no expectation to match in style, shape or length, but there was one thing that I did expect them to kind of match, in which is color, which is teal, and even then, I never expected them to get the exact same shade of teal, because that would just be insanely difficult. I was just going to get them matching accessories for the day, so they are recognized as bridal party. Now, my sister is the slimmest and probably tallest out of my bridesmaids and just generally stunning to look at, and I feel like I have more than considerate to all of my bridesmaids by letting them choose what to wear, and they have been super appreciative of this, other than my sister. She is refusing to wear teal. So much so that she has bought a light pink, plain, short skater dress and said she's wearing that, which would be fine if she was a guest, but she's my maid of honor, she should look like she's in my bridal party. And pink. She couldn't have picked a worse color for my wedding if she tried, as I hate pink, and she knows that. It's completely at the opposite end of the spectrum for what I want. My sister is slimmer and prettier than me, so she's already going to stand out as a stunner at this wedding, but by wearing a pink and plain dress, I feel like she'll be standing out for the wrong reasons. I would much prefer her stand out as an amazing maid of honor with a beautiful glitzy gown and just looking generally stunning rather than everyone staring at her because she's decided to be completely childish over a color. I am so close to just giving in and letting her wear pink, but it's my wedding and this is the only thing I have been insistent on because my wedding has a subtle ocean theme. So am I the idiot, because this whole situation has put a strain on our relationship as sisters to the point where we haven't really spoken for 2 months. Not the idiot. It's your wedding and your bridal party. There is nothing unreasonable about wanting your bridal party to wear your wedding color, and you're even being accommodating by allowing them to choose whatever dress they want to wear, as long as it is in that color. You're being more than fair and your sister is refusing to play ball. To be honest, it sounds like she may want to have some of the attention on herself that day. She needs to remember that it's not her day and it's not about her. Not the idiot. It's ultimatum time. Wear teal or don't be in the wedding, and if she refuses to wear teal, she's quitting, not being fired, so she can't bang on about it for years that you cut her out. Tell her it's her choice entirely. As an aside, I'm confused why you even mentioned that she's prettier than you. Literally no one else cares about that. You are really not asking much, especially because the biggest problem with bridesmaids' dresses are usually the style. You are also giving a choice of color spectrum even. Would she show up to themed costume party wearing a costume which is specifically not in the theme of the party? It is just disrespectful to the host and not even as important as sister's wedding. I would tell her that she is childish and that she should get with the program, or she can wear her pink dress as a regular guest. Imagine later in life looking at pictures, it will just remind her what entitled teenager she was. Congrats on your wedding. I am picturing your bridal party, all the different shapes and sizes, all in different dress styles and slightly different shades of teal, and it sounds stunning. You are being extremely flexible. Any dress she wants as long as it is teal. Stick to your guns. Maid of honor in a teal dress or guest in a pink dress. Not the idiot for sure. Out of curiosity, what are the groomsmen wearing? In my fictional picture they are each wearing a different teal tie.